here's a video for you that I thought I might put up just to help fellow users out, and it might solve your problem too. So basically what was happening was I was printing out from a mobile phone, I was printing out from the computer itself, and I even printed out, as you'll know from this page, if you recognise it, the internal demo page. So when I printed out the internal demo page, it was coming out in monochrome. Now it did come out in colour once, but then came out in monochrome afterwards. I then proceeded to try and print other things like the colour cards and the colour calibration, and every time I did that, it still came out in monochrome. Now the suggestion would be, if it was a standard printer, would be that the ink cartridge, the cyan, the magenta or the yellow, have ran out. What happens after a while is when the colour cartridges run out, the printer usually defaults to monochrome. In the case of this printer, those cartridges hadn't run out, they were perfectly fine, they were perfectly seated, and so was the black one. So I checked all that, everything was fine. I also did an auto calibration, and again, no issues whatsoever. Okay, at first glance you may think that this is a blank page. It is not. There are a few lines on it, as you can see. So basically what I did next was I decided to go into the computer itself, remove the printer driver, just in case it was a fault button, and reinstall the printer driver. I then set the printer to obviously print out something I did on paint, some squiggly coloured lines, and I got, well, them in monochrome again. Now the printer was set to print out in colour, but this was still happening. So it's not the driver. But remember, this was happening from it internally. So you can go into it, print the demo page, and this should be in colour every single time. There shouldn't be anything telling it to print in monochrome, apart from the fact that the cartridges may be gone, which they weren't. They're perfectly fine. So why was that happening? Why was this happening? So then I said, well, okay, maybe there's some sort of driver on the computer that's telling the printer to print only in monochrome. So I went ahead and I printed out this logo from my mobile phone. Now on the mobile phone, the Android, what you can do is you can set the phone up to print using the HP web services from your phone on your wireless network to your printer. Now my printer is not a wireless printer, but it is on the network. So once it's on the network, it becomes wireless. Isn't that very clever? So I printed from the phone and still I got the error. So from the phone, so Android OS, it's monochrome. Windows 11, 10, 8, 7, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, monochrome, and you can't actually see the colour at all. From the printer internally, monochrome. So I said to myself, well, this has to be something very simple. So I changed one thing, and suddenly the logo came in colour, and suddenly the squiggly lines were in colour, and the demo page was also in colour. So what happened? Well, I said to myself, I'm going to take out the actual main board of the printer. Okay, on the printer main board, what you have is an extra piece of RAM. And this extra piece of RAM is installed to allow basically more people to print to the printer. Now, I don't really need it anymore because it's only really one or two people printing at once. So that buffer isn't needed anymore. So I took out that RAM, suspecting that I have a funny feeling that's faulty, that's causing the problem. And lo and behold, when I took it out, it started printing colour from the Windows 10, it printed colour from the machine internally, and it printed colour from the Android operating system. So, what's this mean? Well, the next time somebody says the cartridges are low, that's why it's not printing in colour, or your printer isn't set right, it's a printer driver error, you can turn around and say, oh no, actually, I think it might be the RAM. So this is the main board from the printer, and this RAM, which is basically the faulty piece, was inserted in here in this slot. So literally took it out, put the board back in, and it started to print in colour again. So this board just slides out of the side of that printer. Not all HPs are made the same, and not all HP printers or Epson or any other printer will have necessarily add-on memory. There is obviously built-in memory on these boards. This is just to add, additional memory to the system to allow multiple users to print to the computer so they can spool to it. But took it out. So the word Jet Direct comes from some of the older HPs where they wouldn't have network capability built into them, like this one has. So you get a Jet Direct board, which would be a controller card for the network, which would slot into a port at the back of the HP printer and allow you to print on the network. And they were called Jet Direct, HP Jet Direct boards. So you might see that as a driver configuration. So that's what that's all about. So just like to say thanks for watching the video, and if you like this video, you can always like the video, you can always dislike the video, leave your comments down below, and if you'd like to see more videos in the future, press subscribe. Helps you to know when they get uploaded, which isn't that regularly, so it's probably handy, but up to yourself what you want to do. Your choice, your life. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.